Entering the workforce is an exciting experience for teenagers. From serving in a favorite restaurant
327
to working outside
5 pounds. There you go.
to assisting on the sidelines of a local sports team.
I'm 17. This is my first job. I've been working about a year and a half now. We have to be here at 7 in the morning. I've never been late actually, which is pretty cool.
As they enter the workforce, teens can look forward to gaining new skills and training.
Can I get something for you?
It's estimated 80% of teens work at some point before they graduate from high school.
The reason I have a job is because I've been saving up for a car ever since I first got the job, and got a couple thousand saved up. And after I get a car, I don't know, I'll probably just either keep saving for something else I want, or just start blowing it all on clothes and food.
For most teens, working is a positive experience. For some, however, it turns out quite differently. At 14, Mallory got her first job at an ice packing business. She wanted to earn money for church camp.
It was August 7th at 7 o'clock at night, and we were bagging ice, and there's a preset amount of how much ice you get in the bag, and I messed up on the bag before, so there came out too much ice in that bag and then not enough in my bag. So I went around the back of the machine to fix it. I was filling it up and the bag slipped out of my hands and it fell into the auger. And I reached in and grabbed it and it pulled both my arms in. I was stuck in there for 55 minutes while the paramedics tried to figure out how to get me out.
Mallory was finally released from the machine and flown to the Regional Trauma Center.
It cut my tendon and it cut my whole arm open. See in this backside too. And it twisted this one around and broke it in half, and my fingers were at my elbow. So it made all the muscle in my arm die, both of them.
When Mallory got out of the hospital, her entire life was changed.
When I got home, I couldn't do anything for myself. I was just like a newborn, pretty much. My sister had to dress me and help me go to the bathroom, and my mom had to stay home from work to take care of me for, I think, 2 months. And so it was pretty much hard on the whole family.
Since then, Mallory has undergone 6 surgeries and skin grafts to repair bone, muscle, nerves, and blood vessels. After extensive physical therapy, she's learned to use her hands again, but she'll never be quite the same. She can no longer play the flute. It's exhausting to hold a paintbrush for very long, and she's not the athlete she used to be.
She was a very good jet skier, an excellent swimmer, great at sports. And that very much changed for her. She didn't, I wouldn't say that gave up, but her arms gave up for her. And that was very frustrating for her because of the things that she was able to do prior to that.
I can't lift a lot of weight. I'm pretty handicapped in that way. I'm never going to get strength back in my arms. I lost all that muscle and it won't regrow. So I'm just going to be weak for the rest of my life.
The machine involved in Mallory's injury was unguarded, which was a violation of the health and safety regulations that protect workers of all ages. In addition, this type of equipment is prohibited to be used at all by anyone under 18 because it's considered too dangerous to work with. An estimated 158,000 teens are injured in the workplace every year in the United States. Of those, it's estimated that 53,000 are hurt badly enough that they have to go to a hospital emergency room. The most common injuries are cuts, bruises, sprains, and burns. Other more serious injuries result in broken bones, concussions, and amputations. Unsafe equipment, stressful conditions, inadequate safety training, and a lack of supervision were often factors in those incidents. Since the year 2000, an average of 48 teens have died each year from being injured on the job.
I think the biggest challenge would be just remembering that sometimes we're under a time crunch and we want to hurry and get everything done, but we can't risk safety to get that done. So we try and we need to work as efficiently as possible, but not jeopardize the safety of ourselves or others as we do it.
In my job in the deli, the most common way you can get injured would be slipping or falling on the floor, or even burning yourself, which I've done on the hot case, or dealing with anything that's hot, like the grills or something like that. Ooh, it's hot.
Teens are injured about twice as often as adults, partly because they're inexperienced with many of the tasks required of them.
I've been working here for 4 weeks now, and I've learned that it's pretty hard. I mean, it's like there's pressure like from your managers, and you have to do well stocking. You have to be fast because products actually go pretty fast, so you have to keep stocking and stocking.
Sometimes you need to make like a lot of movements, like a particular time, and we have a little time in there, beeping all the time. So you need to be faster because you need to have your order before that time.
So today's attendance, we're expecting around 15 to 16,000 today. The biggest risk here, I think, is common sense a little bit. I want to do my best as a supervisor to give them the information to be successful. So it's my job to make sure that they're thinking clearly. I don't want to push them to. I don't want them climbing on chairs. I don't want them climbing on tables to do a certain job. I want them to know it's okay to tell me I'm not comfortable with this.
All right, what kind of car is that?
Young workers are often reluctant to ask for help or to question work practices for fear of appearing incapable or getting fired.
There's an implicit trust that why would they tell me to do something if it were dangerous? Or if they're asking me to do something, they must already think I'm supposed to know how to do it. So it's a very difficult thing for an adolescent to speak up and ask questions and appear that they don't know something.
Can I carry those to the counter?
Yeah.
The advice I'd give to teens just starting to work would be just to ask the questions, even if you think they're going to be silly or your employer might think that you weren't listening to the instructions, but just ask because it's better to be safe than sorry.
It's going to be $18.25, please.
Injury on the job isn't the only risk some teens may face.
Do you want those in a bag?
Those who work where money is handled could be at risk of assault or robbery.
In a robbery situation, you want to give them whatever they ask for. Don't resist at all.
We're trained just to go with the flow and don't resist and just give them the money in that case. Our employers mainly just want us to be safe.
As a teen worker, the best way to make your experience a safe one is to know your rights. No matter how old you are or where you work, you have rights. Some of those are meant to specifically protect teens. There are limits on how many hours you can work, so you'll have time for schoolwork and other activities.
Love y'all. All right, one away, thank you.
There may also be restrictions on how early or late you can work. If you're under 18, you won't be allowed to do certain kinds of work or to use some types of equipment because they're too dangerous for younger workers.
Because I am 18, I am able to use the slicer here in the deli, and so far, by using the safety skills that they've given me, I haven't had any accidents.
There are different regulations when it applies to an agricultural job versus non-agricultural, such as grocery stores and restaurants. And then we do have differences. If you're a 14 or a 15-year-old, you have more restrictions than if you're 16 or 17. Once you turn 18, there are no special protections required.
It's the employer's job to know the special regulations that apply to teens under 18 and to provide a safe work environment. That includes providing proper training, identifying any safety hazards, and providing protective clothing and equipment if necessary.
We have a safety security checklist that they go through. You take them around, you show them where the fire extinguishers are, you show them where all the safety information is, be it the chemical information, where the Ansel system is located, where the first aid kit is located, and you actually order their first pair of shoes, because we do have a shoe safety program.
We all kind of work together and teach the right way to lift things, walk through how I want things done. I find personally that by showing people what I want, it's much more effective, and then just telling them what I want. And that also includes things of what not to do.
There are state and federal agencies that regulate workers' compensation, the health and safety regulations, and the child labor and wage and hour regulations.
We're involved with making sure you get the minimum wage, that you're paid for overtime, that you get rest and meal breaks, as well as a safe environment to work in.
If you're hurt on the job or develop an illness that's job-related, you are entitled to workers' compensation to pay for medical care and loss of wages.
I understand you have an injury related to work.
While the application process varies by state, it typically requires that you apply for workers' compensation either through your employer or your medical provider. It's your responsibility to follow all safety procedures for your workplace. This includes wearing proper clothing, using any safety equipment provided, and telling your supervisor if you see any safety hazards.
You need to keep yourself safe, your coworkers safe, and your fans safe. And that's the first responsibility. And they train that general overview to all fielders, or to all employees, and then fielders get job-specific training with play field or speed pitch or moose den, that kind of thing. But there's definitely an overarching emphasis on keeping this entire stadium and all of its employees and fans safe.
It is important to ask questions. Go to your supervisor if something doesn't feel safe, or if you're not clear about how to do any part of your job.
There you go. If you don't know how to do something, if you're injured, if you have any questions, go straight to your manager. Don't think that you need to handle things on your own.
If a teen sees a hazard or a danger in the workplace, it's important to know that they can speak up about that hazard and they cannot be fired for speaking up about it.
As for Mallory, life has moved on, but she has some advice for younger workers out there.
I would suggest they ask for training and pay attention during the training, not just face off like people would do, you know. I would have, but just actually pay attention. Well, I hope that nobody ever has to go through this, because it's life-changing and it's not for the better.
If you have questions about workplace safety, rights, or labor laws in your state, these are resources you can contact.